Today we're going to talk about the French Colonial Empire. Let's get started. So what was the French Colonial Empire? The French Colonial Empire refers to the historical period in which France had a large number of colonies in various parts of the world. At its peak, the empire stretched from North America to Southeast Asia and the Pacific. So we can divide it into two parts. First, French Colonial Empire, which lasted from the 16th to the 18th century, encompassing its initial settlements in North America, the Caribbean, and India. And the second, French Colonial Empire, which began in the 19th century and lasted until the mid-20th century, focused on the colonization of Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific. So let's focus on this second one, because the first one is quite forgotten. The second French Colonial Empire was massive. It included regions like Algeria, Vietnam, Madagascar, Senegal, Haiti, among many others. But don't forget that some of these were also former colonies of other European powers, especially the Dutch, Portuguese, and British. In the case of Algeria, for instance, it was initially under the control of the Ottoman Empire before being conquered by the French. Same with the Dutch, who colonized Algeria first before the French took over. What motivated France to colonize so much of the world? Well, there are multiple factors to consider. Initially, it was all about trade and power. The desire to acquire valuable resources and dominate strategic regions drove them to explore and conquer new lands. Think about it. France back then was a relatively small country. By colonizing other regions around the globe, they could access valuable resources that were not available in France itself. For example, the French colonized Algeria not just because they wanted to expand their territory, but mainly because they needed agricultural products such as wheat, which Algeria could provide. This way, France could feed its growing population and avoid shortages. Religion also played a significant role in the colonization process. Both Christianity and Islam were used as tools to assert dominance and influence. Look at how the Spanish and Portuguese colonized the Americas and how the British colonized India. Religion was always at the center of it. Then there's the concept of a mission civilisatrice, which literally translates to civilizing mission. This was a belief prevalent in France and other European countries that they had a duty to bring civilization and enlightenment to supposedly backward and uncivilized people. They truly believed they were superior and had a responsibility to spread their culture and values to other parts of the world. Okay, now that we know why France colonized so much of the world, let's talk about how it affected the locals. Colonization brought about profound changes to the social, economic, and political landscape of the colonized regions. Indigenous populations were often subjected to harsh treatment, including forced labor and the imposition of European customs. Their land rights were disregarded, and their cultures were suppressed in many cases. However, it is essential to recognize that colonization wasn't just about domination and exploitation. It was also a complex process that involved cultural exchanges, technological advancements, and the introduction of new agricultural practices. Some examples of this include the introduction of new crops, such as coffee to Vietnam or cotton to Senegal, which significantly impacted the local economies. It's important to remember that despite the challenges and hardships faced during colonial rule, indigenous populations actively resisted against oppression and sought to preserve their cultural identities. Uprisings, rebellions, and movements for independence were common throughout the colonial era, demonstrating the desire for self-determination and freedom from foreign control. After World War II, the landscape of colonialism shifted dramatically. The weakening of European powers, including France, coupled with growing nationalist sentiments across the world, led to a wave of decolonization. Notable independence movements, like those in Algeria and Vietnam, resulted in violent conflicts and ultimately the withdrawal of French forces from many of its colonies. The Algerian War of Independence, in particular, was a pivotal moment that significantly reduced the extent of the French colonial empire. And here we are today. While colonialism officially ended decades ago, its impact continues to be felt. Many French-speaking countries around the world remain closely tied to France through cultural and economic partnerships. Organizations like the Francophonie, which promotes French language and cultural cooperation, serve as a testament to the enduring legacy of the French colonial empire.